Hey guys, what is up? This is Eric with OzoneTCG. Today we're going to take a look at some rare staples in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Before we get to the actual video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel content. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Alrighty. So, we're going to have a lot of really cheap cards in this. Starting off with some monsters, we have our three Kaijus. Radian, the multi-dimensional Kaiju. Gadarla, the Mystery Dust Kaiju, and Jizukuru, the Star Destroying Kaiju. These Kaijus are all rares, of course, part of the staple rares. They are all cards you can tribute over your opponent's monsters, some of them in attack position. If there's a card that's unaffected by card effects, guess what? Generally speaking, you can go ahead and tribute over it, get rid of that pesky monster, then attack over the Kaiju, remove it, bounce it back to your hand. A bunch of different strategies with Kaijus. They are and have been a staple in the TCG Advanced format for at least 6 years since their release. Yeah, they are fantastic cards to have right now. These are the only rare Kaijus that we're going to be playing. There is a normal rare Kaiju. We don't play that though because it can't summon over opponent's monsters, but this one, Gadarla specifically, is probably the best one of these three because it has the lowest attack. It has 2700, Radiant has 28, and Jizukuru has 3300 attack. This is also level 8, level 7, and level 10 respectively. These cards are absolutely strong. They are incredibly strong, especially if your opponent's playing a deck like Lotus Cheat, where they do summon a Wind Barrier statue. You can actually tribute over that Wind Barrier statue to go ahead and summon your cards. I do recommend getting at least Radiant and Gadarla first because they are so powerful in their own regard. Being able to just get rid of an opponent's monster for free, very good for ranked duels. Jizukuru is good in some machine decks like Cyber Dragon, sometimes Orcust as well, but really you do want to get Radiant and Gadarla first. Alright, then we have Dimensional Fissure. Any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Stops cards like Effect Veiler and Ghost Ogre from being able to activate in the first place. It's also at 3 in Master Duel because it's at 3 in the Japan and OCG regions. We do want to have this card because banishing is so strong. Your Xyz material won't go to the graveyard, but Link materials will. So decks like Burning Abyss generally can't play through this card because it just banishes those cards. Yeah, very strong card just to have. Again, these are all rare, so they're going to be very cheap, generally speaking, so I would just pick them up, at least to have. And then we, of course, have Mystical Space Typhoon, also known as MST for those who haven't played the game before. You target a spell or trap in the field and destroy it. It's a quick play. You can chain it to continuous spells and traps to cause them to not resolve properly, and field spells and pendulum scales as well. It is one of the best removal cards ever printed. Definitely get this card as a 3-of, probably as your first 3 rares when you start dismantling and crafting new cards. Please get this card. It is very good. It is the best generic removal for a rare or normal. Next up we have Book of Moon, infamously called the best -1 in the game. You target a face-down monster in the field, or target a face-up monster in the field, excuse me, and change it to face-down defense. This card has always been at 3 for the longest time. When it was limited for a while, and it just recently came back to 3 in the TCG Advanced format. OCG's had it for a while. This is very good at stopping your opponent from link summoning because you can't link summon with face-down monsters. Very good at preventing your opponent from Xyz summoning and synchro summoning. Only decks it doesn't work against are those that fusion summon or ritual summon. Yeah. Yeah, so you definitely want to get this card. Very good disruption in decks like Sky Striker because you can still play, except for the mirror, of course. Does help versus other decks when you're playing a deck like Sky Striker. It's also just a very good generic card to have in general because of how many decks that special summon and link summon and the whole shebang. Alrighty, next up we have Forbidden Chalice. You target a face-up monster in the field, it gains 400 attack, but its effects are negated. This acts as a budget infinite impermanence. You can chain this to your opponent's monsters that activate and negate their effects. The attack gain doesn't actually matter because generally you use it on, even if you're using on weak monsters or strong monsters, you can still remove it, especially if they have protection effects. Generally you can just get rid of them because their effects are negated, right? Chalice has been one of the best negation cards in the TCG Advanced format for a while. This card is absolutely incredible in this game. I don't know why it's a rare. I think it should be at least a super rare. Neither here nor there, but definitely get Forbidden Chalice as your first generic negate card. Alrighty, and then we have Needle Sealing. When there are 4 more monsters in the field, destroy all face-up monsters. This card acts like a mini Torrential Tribute. This card is very good. Generally, if your opponent is playing a spamming deck where they're summoning a bunch of monsters and trying to link summon, synchro summon, Xyz summon, anything like that, you can just flip it. If you don't have any face-up monsters or your monsters can't be destroyed by card effects, hey, you basically get a free trap dark hole. You can activate this anytime when there are four or more monsters on the field. Yeah, very, very strong card. The next up we have Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. This was an old tech from 2014 in the TCG, sometimes played even today. Discard a card and target a card the opponent controls, place the target on top of the deck. You can't change it to cards like normal spells, normal traps because they can't go on top of the deck, but it is very good for removing those extra deck monsters, links, synchros, etc. Those are very good. It acts like a mini compulsory evacuation device. Definitely recommend that you get this card. Just a very strong card in general. Yeah. Opponent of the Red Lotus. Cheated a little here. It's a normal rare for some reason. Yeah. You pay 2,000 life points, look at your opponent's hand, and banish a card from their hand to their next end phase. So you activate this at the standby or draw phase, and then you get to look at what they're playing, and then you know exactly what to negate and exactly what they have in their hand. It's a very strong card. The 2,000 life point payment doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, definitely recommend getting as many as you can of these. Definitely play 3 of these in a deck, and especially if side decks are introduced, we will see this played a lot more. And then we have Typhoon, not to be confused with Mystical Space Typhoon. You target a face-up spell or trap on the field, destroy it. If your opponent controls 2 or more spells or traps, and you control no spells or traps, you can activate it from the hand. This was an old tech from 2017 versus True Draco. Not sure that deck's really played in this format, but this card is very good at providing disruption, much better than the actual TCG Advanced format, but also is a nice little utility card paired along with Mystical Space Typhoon. Yeah, pretty cheap too. Again, normal rare, so yeah, very cheap. I would recommend getting it since it should have a lot of crafting points for normal rares too. And then we have Paleozoic Dinomiscus. Acts a lot like a card called Karma Cut or Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, where you target a card on the field, discard a card that is not a cost, and then banish it. So you get to get a free banish. Or if your opponent negates it, you don't lose anything besides the actual Paleozoic Dinomiscus card itself. And then once per chain, has the Paleozoic Claws and trap cards activated. While this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon it as a normal monster. The normal monster really doesn't come up too much in a lot of decks, but decks that are playing a lot more traps can also summon it. You can use it for Xyz summon, synchro summons, link summons, everything, right? Because it becomes its own monster, and it's not treated as a trap anymore, so they can't destroy it with a card like Mystical Space Typhoon. Yeah, very strong card because of that. This card has an effect. It also triggers Shadal cards and other cards that are, if they're sent to the graveyard, by card effects. Really cool tech card. I definitely recommend getting this. And then we have Divine Wrath, another normal rare to cheat out. Here, when a monster effect is activated, discard a card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the monster. This is an old card from a couple years ago. Very powerful card like Solemn Strike. Activates like a budget Solemn Strike or a better breakthrough skill in that regard, in that you can destroy monsters while negating their effects. Yeah, very cheap card. Just pick it up so you have it. Nothing else to say about it. Solemn Scolding. If this is your only set card in your spell and trap zone when a monster would be summoned, or a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, pay 3,000 life points to negate the summoner activation, and if you do, destroy that card. This is like a Solemn Judgment. That is one of the 3 special pack cards, the bundle deals that you can get, but this is like a budget version of that because it is a rare. Now, you can only use it if it's the only set spell or trap, but if you have, like, say, Pendulum Monsters, which was an old Pendulum tech in the day, you'd have your Pendulum Scales, maybe a face-up field spell, and then a set Solemn Scolding. You would set up your board, set Solemn Scolding, and then they can't really out it, generally speaking. Yeah, very strong card, especially if you're playing a deck like Pendulum, or where you don't play many spells or traps at all. 60-card grass decks can play this with no problem at all. Doesn't really do anything else. Yeah, very strong card. And then finally we have Phantom Knight's Fogblade. This is what we call a searchable Fiendish Chain. That is another older card for those who don't know. Activate this card by targeting an effect monster on the field, negate that face-up monster's effects. That face-up monster can attack. Also, monsters cannot target that face-up monster for attacks. When it leaves the field, destroy this card. You can banish it to search or to special summon a Phantom Knight's monster from a graveyard, banish it. You can only use that effect once per turn. So really, we use it for this first effect where it negates the effects and that monster can't attack. It's a very powerful card. An effect in of itself. You can't target it for attacks, but you can still attack directly. You can attack other monsters, or if they use it for a link summon or synchro summon, Fogblade will just go to the graveyard. This is a good, strong, generic card, especially if you have a Phantom Knights deck. This was played very heavily in the TCG Advanced format, but I do recommend getting it, again, since it's really cheap, and it's a budget like Breakthrough Skill, or not as powerful as Solemn Strike, but very similar. Yeah, so that is the budget staples for the rare category and I guess normal rare category. If you like this video, again, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if I missed anything in the comment section below. Pretty quick list. Just want to get you guys up to date with the current staples. Yeah, let me know what you guys think, and be on the lookout for more super rares and ultra rares staples. This is Eric with OzoneTCG. I'll see you guys in the next one.